Greetings, Matt Holt here, and this is the QCOM MS3 vlog series. This is Pediatrics, and this is week 3. I'm about to tell you about what it's like to be on the wards rotation for the pediatric clerkship, and that is basically the 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. rotation. I just spoke with you a little bit about what it's like to be on night shift last week, and so now I'm going to share a little bit about day shift. Day shift is traditionally a little bit more of a busier sort of rotation because there's always work to do. So you start your day at 6 a.m. and that's whenever the senior resident and the intern show up to do handoff from the folks that were working night shift the night before. And so you get there to the resident room in Johnson City Medical Center. It's like your own little conference room type deal where the residents get to hang out. And we'll sit at the table and they basically run the list, which is basically a census of patients. So all the new patients, the new admits that came in the evening before or during the night are on the list, and they'll basically run the list. The old residents from the night before with the new residents coming in that morning, basically give them a handle on what's going on. The senior resident will divvy up the patients, and as a medical student, usually we'll get 2 or 3 patients of our own that we get to go around and round on. And so that's a lot of fun, just getting to go see patients on our own. And then we do a thing at Johnson City Medical Center called family-based rounds or family-centered rounds. That's actually what we call it. And it's actually Nice Children's Hospital. That's basically where everybody comes in the room. You've got the parents, you got the patients, you've got both residents, the attending, whatever medical student saw the patient, and usually the nurse and a few nursing students. So there's a lot of people in the room. It's a lot of fun to be able to get involved with patient care in that way. So normally from about 6 to 7 is whenever we'll run the list. The transfer happens from the other residents, the residents that are coming in that morning. And then after that, everyone goes to see their patients. And then usually rounds with the attending starts around 9 a.m. So you've got like 3 hours to get all the patients seen. Normally there's some action items that need to be done from the evening before. And so you basically go up to the ward. It's on the 2nd floor, and you'll round on your patient. So you will basically look them up in the computer, see what kind of a general idea about who they are. If you've been following them for several days, you already know. So you'll just go in the room, knock, say, hey, I'm a 3rd-year medical student on your treatment team, and I was wondering if I could come in and kind of talk with you before the resident comes to see you. And then a lot of times I'll even go in when the resident comes to see the patient. That way they don't have like the nurse comes in, then the med student, then the resident, then everybody. So it's like one after the other telling the same story. So sometimes I'll join the resident if it's a particularly sensitive case. So that's a lot of fun getting to do that. And then you do family-centered rounds that day. Normally rounds gets over about 11:30 or noon, and go get some lunch whenever you have the chance. The cool thing about pediatrics is there's that pediatric resident room. And so all the pediatric residents, no matter if they're on newborn nursery, if they're on NICU, if they're on wards, doesn't matter where you're at, normally there's always 3 or 4 folks in there having lunch. And that's cool because I've never been in a specialty yet where all the residents get to have lunch together pretty consistently if they make time for it. And normally they don't even have to make time for it. It just happens, which is pretty cool. Fun to be a part of. There's usually a family med resident. Worked with a family med resident out of Bristol and Johnson City, and they're usually great. I really enjoyed working with them. And even if they're a 2nd-year family med resident, they kind of function as an intern. Also got to work with a 4th-year who was doing his away rotation. He's from LMU, and he wants to do pediatrics. So he was there, and I didn't realize this, but as a 4th-year medical student, you can even function sort of like an intern as well. So that's pretty neat. Getting to work with such a diverse group of people and see everyone's styles and see how they take care of patients. Had an excellent attending, Dr. Kumar. He, like I told you last week, maybe he spent the first like 9 years of his career in Cambodia, and then 3 more in Tanzania for like 12 years after residency. And now he's working here in Johnson City with our residency program. So it was great. He was a great teacher. We got to do a whole lot of different, there's a lot of time during the day for random teaching moments, and those were fun. And so overall, it's been really great. We did a simulation lab on Thursday where we got to go into Stanton Gerber Hall. That's our normal sort of main med school building, and do some simulated cases with an ER physician, and then talk through the cases. That's always a lot of fun as well. And we do morning report on Monday and Friday mornings. So it's like from 7:30 to 8, all the residents, no matter what rotation, whatever they're doing, they're all there in like the little conference room. And someone presents a case. And it was cool because one of my patients got presented. I seen the patient in the ER, did the H&P. A lot of times on rounds or during the day, if we're going to get an admit from the ER, we'll walk down to the ER and see him because it usually takes a few hours to get him on the floor. So we go down there, and it's this little fussy baby, and we're like, what's wrong with this baby? And he gets admitted, and he's having a hard time feeding. So we keep him on for like a few days, even across the weekend, and come to find out, he has this huge abscess, just a huge abscess that was growing. And then one of the residents on physical exam found it, and we ended up draining it and really got that baby taken care of. But it was such an interesting case. And there's several interesting cases like that. I had pancreatitis. We had a little boy that had a dog bite to the face. We had a guy that had some just rectal bleeding. Couldn't figure out what the source of it was. So they did the full set of, NG tube, washout, all the different tests that you do, imaging to try and figure that case out. All different kinds of patients, such a variety. There was a little boy that we took care of that ended up having California encephalitis. So it's really interesting. Like, I was surprised at how many different cases that are in the books that we read about we actually saw in real life. And so it was just a great experience. The wards, day wards rotation, like the week that you do that in pediatrics, is really, really good. And you can learn a whole lot from it if you allow yourself to do that and you really take the initiative. So overall, it's been great. Looking forward to NICU next week. And wow, we're already more than halfway done with this clerkship, and rip roaring and ready to go. Excited to get back in there next week. So hope to see you next time.